Writing an angel check is easy. Knowing why is the flex. Angel investing. Underused, misunderstood, explained badly. Angels Decoded, an educated and raw take. In cahoots with Play Money.
Hello and welcome back to Angels Decoded. We made it to number 5. We're starting to get into a stride now where we're adding good value, but also adding insight. And one of those insights that's really important is check size. You can go super big, you can go super small. And it seems that the default is that you feel like you have to go big. Cheryl, what's happening with check size? Why do people get so caught up in that?
Oh my gosh. I think people get caught up in check size because they think it's a reflection of how much value they can provide, which it is not. But it's crazy because you've got two groups of people I see. The ones that jumped in whole hog and wrote their first check at a check size that was way too big. And then it lives rent free in their mind forever. They regret it and they never write a second check because they stretched beyond what they should have. And then there's the flip side, and people I encounter a lot live on this flip side is they're so afraid to step in because they don't know what check size to write, and they're afraid it's not going to be big enough, so they sit it out, and both sides are wrong.
It's like you were peeking into my soul in the first comment. I was guilty of over-investing on one that it felt good in the moment, but knowing the 30 investment at a minimum number now, a couple of years too late, went wrong, and it's an expensive lesson, but I'll bounce back. That's what life is all about. So to set it up, if you're an independent person, you're not really in the startup world, you're thinking about spending some money, let's just do some basic math to set it up. Is it a good place to start by just saying, okay, in 2026, I'm going to put $20,000 of my money down into angel investments, and I'm happy to do that. I can afford to do that. And then I think about at that point, then how do I disperse that and spread that across different investments? What's even a really simple level? What's a good place to start based on how much money you're earning in your household?
No, great question. I'm a math girl. So I think there's a little bit of leap of faith in I'm going to put this much in and see what happens. I'm a math girl, so I back it out. But here's what I advise people. Common financial, conservative, smart financial advice is 25 to 35% of your overall net worth can be in alternative assets, real estate, crypto, other things, startups, private equity. And then particularly for angel investing in early stage startups, somewhere between 5 and 7%, if you have a diversified portfolio, is not only fine, but it's healthy, robust, and smart. So you can all of a sudden start to do the math backwards, right? 5 to 7% of your net worth and maybe 30 checks over 3 to 5 years-ish. Do the dividing out. That should be your check size to start.
So simple. And again, it's a lesson that I learned, but it's also important too for people that are coming in fresh that haven't done the first few episodes with us, a reminder and a flashback. The data that came through Angel List, as far as all the things you can look at, it's the product, the market, the founder, all that information, there's no real standout pattern where there's any significance there that you can glean to make an investment. The one true number is once you pass 30 investments, that's where you start to drive returns. So it's a multiplier effect that comes off a breadth of investments. So we unpacked that a lot in previous episodes. 30 is the magic number based off data from Angel List, which has been in the game for a long, long time. So reverse engineering the quantity, you're spreading that amount of money that you've got based off the math that you just shared. You want to hit 30 investments, 3 to 5 years over that time, and that gives you a check size. But the myth that I see out there all the time, and you touched on it a little bit there, is that you have to write something that has what feels like valuable to the founder. It's almost like a small investment is too much hard work for a founder. Can you unpack that a little bit for us as far as what it means for the founder and what that money in looks like?
Yep. So when I teach an Angel 101 class, and the biggest aha moment where the eyes light up is where I show my portfolio, which is about 50 angel investments now. I do a little bit more than my 5% of my net worth. And I talk about the size of my checks. And I am a loud and proud baby check writer. When I math my math backwards, my right size check is about $1,500. The room always goes silent. Like there's this moment of like fear and potential shame and potential, oh my gosh, I didn't realize I could do it. That melts away. You can write small checks like that. The way to do it is normally through SPVs, right? So you're not creating a cap table or administrative burden or a time burden for the founders, particularly if your level of diligence matches your check size. For a $1,500 check, you better not be taking 2 hours of the founder's time on the phone. But if you're part of an angel group, a part of a syndicate, which is a group that shares deals with each other, or, you're on Play Money, someone has done a lot of that heavy lifting diligence either for you or as part of the group. So you can feel comfortable coming in and writing a check in the size that fits you best.
Yeah, from a founder side, the strength of an SPV is administration, which we've tackled in episode 3. And we also talked a bit about it in episode 4. We were talking about being on the cap table versus not.
Hmm.
And the collection of capital is the strength. You could have in an SPV 50 people that are going in. And if they're all writing $2,000 checks, that's $100,000 that hits your
It
bank.
adds up. Small checks, big change, baby. It adds up really
Plus, you
fast.
get the upside of 50 people that are in your corner all of a sudden that have interesting backgrounds themselves and interesting connections. And that multiplier effect is really important. So the checking your ego at the door is the message, and be practical. We know the numbers.
Checking your ego at the door is from like one perspective. The perspective in the world I live in all the time is don't be embarrassed, right? Like we had an SPV on Play Money this summer, and there was an angel that wrote a $2,500 check into the company. He's an exited founder, so he believes in the 30 company diversification. He has a ton of expertise and skill. He wrote a $2,500 check, and then he helped that founder find her new perfect CEO candidate because it was a medical startup. She was a clinician. She wanted to be on the chief medical officer side. So one of her most valuable and what will turn out to be impactful investors was in there with what I would call a baby check.
It's amazing. And again, it's just simple to think about. If someone's put in a little bit of money, they want you to win. They want you to do everything, but you cannot quantify the multiplier of what that connection could do with that person that comes in to help drive the ship and run a business where if you've not done it before, that's hard work. So great addition where the capital
Huge.
probably almost feels redundant, relevant to the actual impact that a great CEO can have. So really
Yep.
nice story to be able to
Yep.
hear that. Flipping it the
Yep.
other way then, if you're not checking your ego at the door, you've done the math and you know where you're at. Are there times, maybe it happens after a few angel investments, where you might feel like the old finger stretches up a little bit and the check size gets a little bit bigger and you go a bit harder? When do you think that that's relevant
Yep.
to put into the game?
Yep. We see it. We see that happen in two places. And I know from my own experience that that happens in two places. So a few things I want to unpack here. And we say do the math backwards, 30 checks over 3 to 5 years. That doesn't mean that by writing your first check, you are committing to write 30. You don't have to jump over that hump yet. Write your first 1, 2, 3 and see if you like it. And if you don't, well, great. Don't do it anymore. You had a little fun adventure, a little learning. You didn't burn too much capital, not the asset class for you, and move on. But don't feel intimidated by like, oh, I've got to write 30 and do a budget and stuff. Write the first few, see how it feels. If you like it ongoing, it's your money and your rules. So when I teach Angel 101, I do a chart, right? And I told you my investments on there, and they're all different size circles based on relative to the size check I write. And most of them are the same size circles. And there are a few that are a little bit bigger. Whether this is, I think it's a little bit of like backwards justification girl math, but how I think about my check writing is there's a baby check size of $1,500 that is the right size check for my budget. Some bets I make bigger. I'm pulling that money from different budgets. I'm invested in a company called Fishwife. Hot girls eat tinned fish. I did it as part of the Council Angels, and I don't I don't particularly know CPG products, but it was such a fun pitch, and all the women in the angel group were investing because the founder was a friend of one of the people in there. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to throw money into this one because it's part of my social budget. and my networking budget. And then we, posted pictures for a month of us eating, adult cat food with each other at lunch. And it was a hoot, like awesome sauce. It'll probably be my best performing investment. Just go watch that happen. There is another time I have my biggest check is $12,500, like a sort of 10x my normal, 6x my normal. It's in an endometriosis biotech company. They have the first non-surgical diagnostic for endometriosis. The reason I stretched way above my normal check size on that one is because first of all, I pulled it from my philanthropy and impact budget. Endometriosis is a disease that has wreaked havoc on my daughter's life. So I felt great about that check. Part of it was from my financial budget, sound financial choice. Part of it was money I probably would have donated to like the new MIT Endometriosis Research Center. They ping me about it all the time because I'm alumni. And now I put that money into a market-driven solution and a founder I believe in that could return upside to me. So to me, part of that was impact with upside. So 2 stories, but really, you do you. It's your money.
I love philosophical and ethical, Cheryl. And when I say ethical and what I mean, and we've talked about this a little bit.
Where does unethical Cheryl show up? I haven't met her.
No, what I mean is ethical in the sense of investment can be quite often done for making money reasons, and that's why people play it. And what I mean ethical is that you're not looking to just extrapolate cash from a machine that works on your behalf. You're actually adding value to an industry that has a legacy. So for the percentage of women that suffer endometriosis, I don't know what that number is, but
Huge.
have friends as well that have it, and it's so
Mhm.
debilitating. It just overtakes their life. And to be able to make progress on something, and whether it's that business that succeeds or not, or whether it's the next one that carries the torch off the back of what they've done, progress is so important. So as an angel investor, not only are you potentially driving a return, you're actually making a difference in the world. And that, for me, is something that's really beautiful as well.
The purpose of money is not solely to just generate more money. And I think the place that you feel that most is in angel investing. Diversified portfolio statistically will produce above market average returns in the long term, but so much bigger impact. I mean, think about where our money in a index fund is right now. I mean, private prisons, munitions, like all a bunch of things that are pretty damn shitty. I love thinking about seeding the future with my capital and getting return from it. So not to go all bleeding hard on you, but your money, your rules at the end of the day.
And you talk about influence of people power broadly, and right now it's 3% of accredited investors in the USA actually invest at angel level. If we can get that number up to 10%, 20%, the capital that's deployed and the impact that we can have at a grassroots level to change the balance, that's significant.
Dude, it's so significant. And this is like my hot to trot topic right now because I'm building my pitch deck for my company. And I just built the slide that was, here's the stat that'll like, boom, blow your mind. If 12% of accredited investors, so we're at 3 now, if just 12% invested just $10,000 a year, angels would move more capital than the entire angel to Series A market in the US. $30 billion of capital that would unlock every year. You know what $10,000 is? It's like sort of what your like, I bought stupid shit at Target and on Amazon budget ends up to be after 12 months. Like, it's crazy.
Yeah.
So like the impact there and the power to impact the future, even with small checks. I mean, divide that 10,000 up into 5 checks. Sweet. And if everyone does it, boom. Small checks, big change, baby.
Yeah, it has a catalyst effect of mobilizing people that are smart, are motivated, and are set up to be able to drive change that you're passionate about. So aligning not only with your cause, which is what I was talking about there, but also potentially driving a return. It's a win-win in that situation where you feel like you're contributing towards something as well. So not to dwell on
Mhm.
that too much, but I want to just go back a step. You talked about doing a couple little taste tests, we'll call it,
I
before you
like
have
that.
your
Little
yeah,
snacks.
yeah, before you have your entree, you just have a couple of hors d'oeuvres at the start, and that could be 2 or 3 small checks. Because I encourage people to go back and listen to episodes 1 to 4. It takes you about an hour. They're 15 minutes each to get through that. And what we covered in that is a lot of foundational information that helps you understand cap tables, SPVs, etc. And that process is a learning process. It allows you to understand how you sign the contract at the start, how things are managed, what compliance looks like, tax obligations. There's a whole bunch of things that you learn. And once you go through that process, even for a year, with a couple of checks that you may write, you'll feel so much more confident. Plus, you'll also connect with other people that can help elevate your skills and make you feel more confident. So don't feel like you have to go all in immediately. Step into it slowly, get a sense of the landscape, and then feel like with that knowledge that you've gained, then step forward if you feel like it's right for you and there's a bigger opportunity.
Absolutely. The only thing I would caution is the way you described that whole thing, the way I was emotionally reacting to it is, that sounds like a lot of work and learning. And it's truly not. We say this thing on Play Money, it's always free to lurk and learn, right? We let people come on and see a new deal every week and watch it and understand by digging into it with no pressure on their own time. And it's been really impactful, because that fear of I have such a barrier of things I need to know before I can even put my toe in is not true. Like most of the things we buy, like if your check size, if maybe the math that gets to your check still feels too high, do half of that while you're practicing. All of a sudden you're down there into the land of a not researched consumer purchase. Sweet. Do you freak out before you buy a pair of shoes? No. Do you freak out before you buy a purse? I'm not a purse buyer, but no. I maybe don't even freak out enough before I buy a bike. Maybe a little bit, but break it down to the point that you are not freaking out and you're doing the action, because as you said, you will learn about yourself emotionally, but you'll also learn about the flow and the logistics and the operations once you take that action. And there's so many places that you can do it for low price of entry.
Great call out. And I wasn't proposing that you're doing university and angel investments.
I know you weren't. But I was like, wait, don't scare me. I just hear all the time, oh, I have to sit down. I'm going to start doing this, but I have to sit down with it for a whole weekend. I was like, no, you don't. You got to download it and look at it at the airport or the line at the Costco.
Getting into a platform like Play Money, where there is an SPV and there is education, you just observe and you can see and you'll start to learn the terms, you'll get a sense of it. And that just happens progressively across a period of time. So you don't have to go all in. But this is fascinating. Look at check size. The ability to understand you can go small, you can go big. There are different ways in, but being open and being vulnerable and not being embarrassed almost about writing small checks, because it does make a difference.
It absolutely does. I'm loud and proud, baby check, ride or die.
What a great way to finish up. Cheryl Kellond, I'm Andy Walsh from Startups Decoded. Thanks for listening to Angels Decoded. We're back, 15-minute episodes every week, little 15 minutes of power. Cheryl Kellond Energy. Thanks for listening.
Bye.
Angels Decoded, a weekly podcast for people learning the craft. Angel investing made easy. Subscribe, then decide. Angels Decoded, in cahoots with Play Money.